All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started as long as people can hear me. Um, some people may continue to join the webinar as we go ahead, and we are also recording this, and so we'll end up posting this in the next few days. Uh, we're a couple minutes after the hour, so why don't we go ahead and get started? And I would just like to introduce this as the first webinar that we're having in a series for the programs in population studies. And this is using Social Explorer to engage students with data. And it's presented by Sydney Beveridge and Andy Beveridge, who are obviously already on the call. So before we jump into Social Explorer, I just did want to take a minute to introduce PIPS. So PIPS is a new program that we have. It's called the Programs in Population Sciences. And what we're trying to really do here is bring more data into the undergraduate classroom. So we're trying to get students exposed to data and working with data, analyzing data, really from the first day that they step onto their campus. The hope in doing so is that we really start to get more students interested in graduate studies and careers related to the population sciences. So some of these might be, generally demography, public policy, public health, social work, etc. So there's been a big push that we've seen in various disciplines, including even things like nursing, looking at population-centered health. So we are trying to address that a little bit more by bringing more data to a wider variety of disciplines. So how we're doing this, we have webinars like these, and we also have workshops going forward. So this summer, I'll provide a little bit more information on this later, but this summer, June 16th through 18th, there will be a workshop available for faculty members and graduate students, anybody really teaching in a college classroom. We'll have a workshop in Ann Arbor that people can apply to and can really kind of see how we can bring more data into the classroom. We also have a website up at the top. It's pips.ssdan.net. And there we provide information on different graduate programs and careers related to the population sciences. So this is one of those areas which can be somewhat difficult to identify exactly how to apply to and get in. Applying to one program is oftentimes very different from another. So we really wanted to provide that information kind of one site, so people could just go to kind of a one-stop shop where you can find information on how to apply to programs like the University of Michigan, where I'm at, or the CUNY Graduate Center, or Berkeley. We also wanted to provide a little bit extra value, and so we've been locating opportunities such as internships, writing competitions, summer courses that might be relevant to students who are really developing their interest in population studies. So all of these are available on the site, and I encourage you, if you are in this area, to take a look at the PIPS website. But why we're really here today is to discuss Social Explorer, which is one of those kind of tools that we think really helps to engage students with the data early on. This is where students from the first day of class, they can start working with the data and start to kind of see how the data relates to them. I think going forward, there's even an opportunity to see about how this can be used even before college and looking at the high school level. But we have our two presenters here today. So Sydney Beveridge is the content editor at Social Explorer, and I think she will be leading things. And Andy Beveridge is co-founder and president. And I did want to just include a little bit of information. It should have been sent out to you via email earlier today, but all of you should be able to get access to 1 free month of Social Explorer. And the username and password are available on the screen now, although that should have also been sent in an email. And Sydney and Andy, if you have any other information on that, feel free to share it. But for now, I will pass things off to them, and they can show you just some of what Social Explorer can do.
Great, thanks very much, JP. I'm going to just get started sharing my computer screen here. But yeah, in this webinar, we wanted to introduce people to Social Explorer. I know some people may have seen the site before, but we really want to give people a chance to learn about Social Explorer's resources and tools, and then get people started creating their own interactive maps and sort of demonstrating exactly how that happens, and also letting you know a little bit about what development projects we have on deck, including what kinds of new data are coming soon and new features. So I'm going to just very quickly, okay, here we get to flip around, and so your speakers today, me, Sydney, and Andrew Beveridge. You can reach both of us via email. Here I am standing next to a Ben Franklin impersonator, and Social Explorer's data goes all the way back to Ben Franklin's time, actually. The very first census, 1790, and then we have data all the way up to the present. And you can see Professor Beveridge here standing with the Ellis Island Museum interactive exhibit that we helped design, and there he was on the day of its unveiling, demonstrating how it works. So one of the fun projects we got to do last year. But I'm just going to step through a quick introduction, and Andy's welcome to jump in as well. And then we'll get started on logging in and creating our first map. So yeah, Social Explorer, it really helps kind of break down the barriers to data. There's so much data out there and so much talk of using more data, but big question is how do you get it and get it in a usable form? So a lot of Social Explorer's work has been processing that data and curating that data, and all kinds of time spent deciding what from that data should be represented on the site, and then offering the really rich interactive tools to make it possible to dig into it and dig into it right away. Your freshman Soc 101 student can get started, and then we also have resources and tools that will help your advanced researcher save time and effort. So Social Explorer has been around in one form or another for many, many years now. Started out as sort of a research demonstration project to digitize New York City data going back, sort of in partnership with the New York Times and others, and then expanded from there. And it's now available by subscription, and actually many academic libraries subscribe, and that might be the first point of contact. And I understand there might be some librarians signed up for this as well. And as well as other uses in government and business and independent research. And last year, hundreds of thousands of users created over 25 million maps using our site. And the data, as I mentioned, it includes all census data from 1790 to the present. Plus, we have the American Community Surveys, and we get them up very, very quickly. Our data team and web team gets the surveys up within days or less of when the data goes public. So there's always the most current resources available for the American Community Survey and things like that. Our partners for the past several years, Oxford University Press is our distributor. And so we've been working with them on that. And then we also, speaking especially since this workshop is related to getting students engaged, we have a long-standing partnership now with Pearson Publishing. And many of our online activities have been or special online activities have been built and worked on for a lot of their textbooks in sociology, also in history, and then we're going to be expanding to other fields, including American government and psychology and business and different things there. So some of your students may already be engaging with Social Explorer in the classroom or through a Pearson textbook and other ways like that. Some of our funding has also come from the National Science Foundation, and some of Social Explorer's work is very much in line, I think, with what PIPS is doing in terms of trying to get people more, students, more involved with data in the classroom and making a lot of sort of usable ways of doing that and researching the best methods and best practices. Social Explorer, particularly Professor Beveridge, has a long-standing partnership with the New York Times. Does a lot of consulting for them. You might see some sort of some of their interesting graphics have often been built on Social Explorer's data and analysis that he and his colleague work on for them. So another way we reach other audiences. And we also have worked on a very special analysis and interactive tool related to a Supreme Court case, looking at what the impact would be in a redistricting rules change on different populations. For that. And then also we have a partnership with Census Explorer. One of the things we're very proud of is working with them to develop interactives for their site. And so we did one on young people then and now, looking at different generations and how they're doing socioeconomically and in other ways. Oh, and I also want to flag right now, actually, everything I'm going to sort of touch on today, it's there's a lot of resources on our site that will also reference it. So no need to take notes. Actually, now my computer's spinning a little bit, but we have a very thorough help page that has a lot of different, everything from logging in to sophisticated changes to your map, has it all broken down with instructions. And then we also have on our blog a lot of example activities and write-ups of when we're in the news or other things like that. And let me just see here. Yeah, this is strange. All right. Some of our awards include, we've gotten two Webby Award honorees, one for the Census Explorer project. And we also got an award, one of the ones we're most proud of was that we were named an outstanding reference resource from the Reference and User Services Association of the American Library Association. And now, let me just see. All right, sorry, of course, technical intrusions happening here. All right.
What's it doing, Sydney?
Yeah, I don't know. I might have to restart my browser. Sorry about that. This was the one thing I didn't think would happen. Sorry, hold on here. So, yeah, I guess, so you guys have the trial subscription. You know what, I might have to just go ahead and restart this. If I drop out, I will log back in immediately. So, sorry about this. I'll be right back.
Yeah, meanwhile, until she gets back on, we started really in 99 when 97 when New York City, we found data that had census tract data in New York City or small area data going all the way back to 1910, and the New York Times wanted to use it for a project on the consolidation of New York City. And so what happened was we ended up getting this data and then trying to compile it, and then working with people in Minnesota, in the Minnesota Population Center. We worked with them on the National Historical GIS project, and then through an NSF grant from their National Digital Library Program, we built it out to the whole country. And then in 2005, we incorporated it. And in 2007, we started trying to have subscriptions. NSF has this idea that you should become sustainable, and by that they mean you should have some other funding or have funding so they don't have to keep funding you. And what happened was we started this, and we were actually it turns out if you get
I'm back.
Okay.
Are people still there?
Yeah, we're all
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Are you going to share again? Maybe just have one window open this time, Sydney.
Okay, so we are on the home screen now. Sorry about the hiccups, but we're going to roll on and take care of it. So right now, I'm on the home screen, and I can tell that I'm not logged in yet because there's this area over here. It says you're using the free edition, and the login and sign up are right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click login, and this is where you would put in that special code that was sent to you earlier. And then after you do that, it's going to prompt you to sign up for a personal account. Just very easy, just attached to your email address. And this will let you save and share projects, and is a really nice tool to help get even more out of Social Explorer. So I'm going to go ahead and log in on my account. Okay, now I'm in. And right when I log in, it's actually going to take me to my project gallery, but I'm not going to go too deep into that just yet. But so when we're logged in, I'm just going to go back to the home screen. And so let's say now you've logged in and you've set up your personal account and you're ready to go. So as I mentioned, Social Explorer has census data and American Community Survey data. And I'm going to go ahead and click over to the Maps tab to get started showing kind of the different data that's available. So that's the main place, and we're going to go there in a second. We also have been excited to add a lot of other kinds of data recently. We added the UK data, the Census 2011. Really excited about this, sort of basically their equivalent of the Census Bureau over there, now giving us a really nice, deep international well of data. We also have, and of great interest for 2016, election data, which I'll take a quick look at later if we have time. But we are really glad we were able to get the data from David Leap's Atlas of U.S. Presidential Elections. And this map data, it's available for presentation only, so we can't download the reports, but that's something we're actually looking into working with him down the road to help facilitate that. But you get to see some really sophisticated election data with that. Some other data we also have Irish data, population and religion data, spanning about almost 100 years. And this was from a partnership with Professor Ian Gregory of Lancaster University. And so that's been an interesting addition as well. And then our newest, hottest data set, just off the conveyor belt, is crime data. And so we got our data from the FBI and Uniform Crime Report. And so this has everything from property crimes to violent crimes to arrest rates, and it covers the whole nation and goes all the way down to the county level. But what I'm going to do first, and you can just click here, this Start Now button, we're going to get to our main area for this, which is the map dashboard, I usually call it, and that's going to be our sort of home base. And it's probably loading a little slowly because of the little shutdown before, but we're getting there. Okay, so here we are on the map dashboard screen, and this is sort of your home base. And so basically, as you can see right now, here's our map of the whole US. I can very easily mouse over and get like a quick snapshot of information. Right now we're looking at population density. And you can see the shading on the map. Here's our legend over here on the right, and that'll tell us what, the different levels of what we're looking at. And here the title, the default title tells us what this map is of. You can also always customize your title and overwrite that, which is great for particular presentation needs or other things you might want to present to people. Right over here too, so also I can click and drag this around. You can double tap, zoom in, use your scroller wheel, or you can use the zoom controls down here and play around with that. I'm going to, this box over here is our search bar, so I'm going to go ahead and type in, let's do 1600 Pennsylvania, Avenue. And actually, given our recent moment, I'm not going to take too many chances. So I'm standing in Queens, New York right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click Queens, New York, and it'll pop it right to that dot and then zoom right in for us. So you can easily search a zip code or a street address, other things. This is a great opportunity for students to type in, let's say, their home address, and then they could find out how an income level relates to their neighborhood versus the county they live in, or other things like that, or their home state. So it's one of the opportunities where you really get to personalize your data. There's also this here, you can actually, now we have a geolocation ability, so I believe it's based off the ISP. So if you click that, though I often, I'll allow it. I usually block that kind of stuff on my computer, so it may not work as it's supposed to, but this is really fun. We're especially excited about this for mobile opportunity, where you could use the site on the go and click where you are and then get information about where you are. But yeah, that's another sort of extra little thing there. So that's a little bit about sort of the basics of the layout of the map. But really the meat of this, of course, is the data. So I'm going to show you how to change your variables and explore the ones that are available. So I just moved my mouse over here to this change data button. And so if I click that, the data is arranged here by category and by year. So we could even go all the way back to the first census and take a look at, maybe population density then. And that's going to be at the county level because they didn't quite have census tracts back in those days. But and we can take a look at that, or we can hop back up to something in the present and pick a totally different category of data. And so this is an opportunity where you get to do a lot of browsing. You might be very clear on kind of the thing you want to look up. Like today, you might know for sure you want to look up what's the median income, median household income. And here I was just typing this keyword search helps filters your list in a given area or for a given map. So I just went ahead right in there, knew what I wanted to look for and clicked it. Or you can very easily browse all of the different things that are in income, different brackets, different income by race, median income, income connected with gender or education, all kinds of topics. And you can sort of click around and explore that and click around and explore all the different categories that are available here. And also, particularly, especially, there's a lot of a big impulse when you're using Social Explorer is really wanting to compare stuff. So right now we're looking at the median household income, but I really kind of want to compare that. I'm going to zoom in just a little more so we can see more detail. And I really want to compare that with the poverty rate. And I want to be able to see these both at the same time. So I'm going to click the side-by-side presentation. And this will let me have two maps simultaneously on the same screen. And then I can customize both maps as much as I want. So I'm going to look up on this one on the right, the poverty rate. And so let's just grab that first indicator there. And so here I can look and explore two variables in one location at once. I can also link these maps together by clicking this little chain link thing here. And then if I move one, I'll move both. Or I might want to explore them separately. And also another nice feature here, the mouse over has always been a really useful tool, but the nice thing here too is it'll show you the data on both of the maps on the screen just in one mouse over. So you can very quickly compare, I see that the median income here is 70,000 and the percent of families living in poverty is about 6%, and then very easily compare that to another geography. So that's one of the things. Another way to compare maps is these are the sort of the map templates down here at the bottom, the swipe map feature, which has sort of an extra fun tactile bit to it. So here we have sort of one geography underneath, and then this vertical gray bar here. If I click and hold it, I can drag it to the left and right, sort of revealing what's going on underneath. And depending on how you want to present stuff or compare stuff, this has been a really fun and interesting way to do it, and also really gets students to kind of sit up and click, which is another nice interactive aspect to it. And another piece that I'll show, there's actually, let's see. So just to the right of the title, you'll see this 3-line box here, and if I click on that, and then there's some options here. We'll get into a little bit of this today, but there's more to get into. But the bottom one, the satellite view, if I click on that, we then have a satellite layer in addition to our data layer. And this is really nice, just getting to relate the geography with the data. And it's a very visually appealing way, very striking. This is a very eye-catching thing and has gotten some oohs and ahs among some of our users, and we're glad to inspire that. So I'm going to flip back to the data view, get this one back to that. And now, another thing I want to show you a little bit. Let's see if I can do it on this one. Actually, let me pick a different variable, and then I'm going to show you a couple different display options we have here. So I just changed this to the white population, and here we're looking at the census tract level, kind of in the New York metro area. And I'm going to show you, so here you can see what layer you're looking at. Right now it's because we're zoomed in, we're looking at the census tract layer. You can also tweak this accordingly, like if you would rather look at, so it automatically adjusts based on how far zoomed in you are to see what geography is available. You can also override that and customize it. For example, I might want to look at zip codes. So I just clicked automatic off, and now I'm going to go ahead and click zip codes. And now I can zoom in more or play around with it, and now I can see all the data at zip code level. And there's a whole bunch of other geography levels also available, but that's a nice little trick because often zip codes or other kinds of more traditional geographies might be a little more understandable than census tracts to the layperson. So that can help relate it sometimes. And now, oh yes, I wanted to show you also just to the right of this here, show data by, there's the visualization type. So right now we're looking at the shaded area, which is the default. And so here's the legend related to that. And the shaded area colors here, the different oranges and browns. But I might instead want to see this as a dot density map. And so you can, when the data is appropriate, it'll give you that option, the data density. Like it wouldn't give you that for like a rate, but it'll give you that for like a count. So here's the dot density map. And so this might be an appealing option depending on how you want to present the data. And you can also adjust the ratio for how many dots you get based on what the amounts are underneath. So you might want more dots to help highlight something, or you might want fewer dots to clean up the clutter, depending on what you're looking at. And then another option, one that's very useful, are the bubbles. And so the bubbles look kind of like dots, but they do more. So then if I click just to the right here on the bubble options, if I click add percentages, and I'm also going to make them just a little bit bigger. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. So with the dots, the size of the dot tells me some information, and the color of the dot tells me something else. Actually, just for the purpose of this, I'm going to flip to the county because I think it's a little easier. Okay. So you can see the size of the dot tells me the white population number, and the percent, I believe, is represented by the shading color. So actually, if I zoom out a little more, I might be able to see more contrast. But you can see, you can get like a little more information in one map, getting two pieces of information through the bubbles, both the size of the white population and what percent of the overall population it makes up. So that's been a useful tool to help people understand data in different ways and help communicate a little bit more about it. I'm going to go back to the shaded area. And actually, I'm going to go ahead back to a single map just so we can focus in here. And now, oh yeah, another thing I want to show you is we also more recently introduced the ability to map multiple variables on a single map. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So right now we're looking at I'm going to switch this back to automatic, but we're looking at the white population, but I might want to compare the white population and the black population and the Hispanic population and see how the numbers differ. So, or white, black, and Asian, let's say that, for example. So I went back into the data change menu, and you'll see, if you follow my cursor, here I have white alone clicked, and there's a little check mark showing that that's what's on the map. And then there are these open boxes, and that allows you to click more of them, I think up to 5, and then you can have multiple variables at once. So I'm going to click the white population, the black population, and the Asian population. And then I'm going to click back over to the map. And now you'll see just a blast of color. Here are 3 different colors representing those different groups. And you can see sort of particular areas. Yeah, so here sort of Chinatown in Queens, Chinatown in Manhattan, you see a bloom of the blue representing the Asian population, whereas here you can see where the black and white populations differ. Very immediately get a sense of what's going on with the colors, and then if you zoom in or mouse over, you can see what's going on with the numbers underneath. So this has been a really helpful addition to the site to help compare things. Also, I'll point out smartly, it doesn't let you compare everything. It keeps you kind of within one group of variables, because we don't want you to accidentally compare, two things that don't relate. Like it would be confusing if you compared the white population with the non-Hispanic white population, because that's sort of a different thing. So Social Explorer, we work really hard to make sure people don't kind of make those wrong steps. So always trying to look out for that. So I'm going to mention, let's see, a couple other features on the map here for customization. So looking at the title, we already talked about you can customize the title. Those here. And you can also edit the way the data is being shown, specifically the cut points and also the legend colors. So for example, I might want to change the colors on this. I might have very specific ideas for what colors I want, or maybe if I'm doing, I think recently we did a map related to St. Patrick's Day, and it's natural to want to use green. So that kind of thing, sometimes sort of like a cosmetic thing, or just if you need to adjust the colors for more contrast, or red and blue for election related things, that kind of stuff. So you can change the colors. You can also edit the cut points, so the different breaks on the legend. And we have multiple ways you can do this, and you can really get into it if you want. But also, if you don't even want to look at it, you don't even have to. So, but you can cut down the number of different breaks here. Like I'm cutting the number of classes from 11 to 8. And you can also change the different methods by which these are done. So there's usually a list with, it includes Jenks among other ones. That I know is a popular one. Equal intervals. There's different ways to change the classification method down here. So yeah, so that's another way you can customize it. This is especially helpful, for example, if you're looking up a very small group of people like Afghans in America, and it's really hard to see on the map any shading because the amount is always, tiny. But if you bump up the cut points, then you can see it a little better. So that's one example where that might be useful. So we've been digging around, creating a whole bunch of different maps. You might want to save them, and we certainly encourage you to do that. So since I'm logged in, I can go ahead and click the Save As button up here on the left. And I'll just save this as webinar test and save it. And now I can go back and edit it and play with it and create additional ones anytime. You can also share your map. So this over on the top bar here, a little more towards the right, is the share button. And so you can copy the link. You can share via some of your favorite social media channels. You can collaborate with someone. For example, if students or a professor want to have teams working together, this is one way to help organize that. You can email it. And you can also embed it. And we use this on our blog a lot. This is really fun. You can embed an interactive map right on a website. So for example, if a class has maybe a WordPress blog related to their neighborhood project, they could pick a size and go ahead and embed an interactive map, and then their classmates could easily play with it. We also let you export the map. You can export it as an image, and we have a few different options for types of images. And you can also export it to PowerPoint. And there's a couple different ways to do that. So trying to make that simple. And that's some of the main stuff there. So I'm going to go back to, My Explorer. So now I saved this map. So there it is now in my gallery of stuff here. And you can save as many projects as you can, as you feel like, and they'll all appear down here. And then I can just go back and edit that anytime I want. So, all right, so we've gone through a lot on the map side. I'm just going to touch on, just wanted to hit a couple quick things and then also be available to turn this over for questions or anything else people want to say. But I'll talk a little bit about the reports, which are really useful behind the data behind the maps. So there's two ways to get into the reports. I'm going to show this way first. You can go back to this 3-bar box to the right of the title. If you click that, you can actually create a report right here from the map dashboard, and it's sort of a quick way to do that. So I'm going to just click that, and let's stick with that survey. We'll go with the Essentials report because that sounds essential. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on, now I'm just clicking on random stuff here, but click on a couple stray census tracts, and then I realize, oh, I didn't want to do that one. Let me unclick it. Then you can also click, maybe I want to compare it to the rest of the county, and I'll click on Brooklyn and Queens. And so my geography, my list of geographies is forming over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the report. And that's one way to create the report. And then I can go in here and edit stuff, export stuff, and whatnot. But I also want to show you how to do the direct route. So if we go back to any page on the main Social Explorer site, the Tables tab here will get me, this is sort of the front door to the reports. So here's the list of all the different surveys that are available to you. This is also a great place to kind of get acquainted with what's on the site. This crime and the health data are brand new, really excited to get those up there. But here's the whole list of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead with the American Community Survey 5-year, and then I'm going to go ahead with the most recent one, and I clicked Begin Report. And so then there are sort of 3 main steps to creating a report. You pick your geographies, you pick your tables, or exactly what you want to look at, and then you look at the results. So I'm going to go ahead and put the US in here, and I'll throw in a couple counties. I'm very New York centric, so I'm going to try and pick a couple different counties. We'll try Alabama today. Then I could also always throw in census tract. So we'll just grab, oops. And you can also, I'm clicking through these kind of quickly, but as you're going, for example, you might want to look at all census tracts in a particular county. And so you could even click on that little shortcut to get you what you need. But I'm just going to grab a few of these and click Add. And then here below is my list of geographies that are going to be explored. And another way you can do this, particularly helpful for researchers who are working with a lot of different geographies, you can also use FIPS codes. And we have a blog post up on how exactly to do that, but that'll save you some time instead of having to constantly go back and refresh your geographies. So now I'm going to go ahead and click Proceed to Tables. And going to scroll up here. And so now, kind of just the way we browsed before, you can scroll through and browse all the different tables that are available. And this also is a great opportunity to kind of get acquainted again with what's in here. And the American Community Survey is really impressive. They have just topics, everything from health coverage to very detailed income data, race, ancestry, in addition to the standard stuff you would expect, like age, number of people, gender, that kind of stuff. So there's just a huge wealth of data in here. So you can browse it, the full list, or you can search by keyword. So I just clicked this second little gray turn to red thing. For example, if I'm curious what kinds of things are available related to income, I could click that and then dig through the list. Or if I know that I want something related to median income, I could click that and get into a little more refined list and then find out exactly what I'm looking for. Let's do median income and median income by race. So I'll add those 2 tables to start. You can also use one of our pre-made reports, which is a great way to get started. This is sort of a quick collections of tables related to a particular topic. So that's another option. You can pop one of those in. So I'm going to click next. Oh, it's on the report screen, so it got fussy, but not that fussy. Okay, so I have my two tables here selected, and I'm going to go ahead and click Show Results. And here we are. So here on screen, you can get a quick look at what's going on. So we have, and always a reminder of exactly what survey you're looking at, exactly where you are in the process. We're looking at the results. And here's the report. And here we are, we have for the US, plus a couple of counties. And actually, I'm going to let it show more stuff on the screen so we can see it. And then the subtotal for the counties, and then the different tracts. And so you can explore this on the screen as much as you like, and just browse. And you can see also, just to point out, since some of the data relates to money stuff, we also have an inflation calculator. So for example, if you want to compare income in 1980 to income today, when you do that report on 1980, you might want to bump the inflation calculator to today, so you can calculate things head to head. But yeah, so here's the report itself. We can browse around, and then you can also link to it. If you want to save the link, you can just click over here and copy it. Good to refer back to. And then you can also export the data, and this is very helpful. There's two different kind of tabs for exports, different kinds of exports. So this is very helpful just for your own research. I use this constantly. I use the Excel downloads, especially myself. Excel, this one over here, works with all your current Excel programs. And then you can also, if you prefer to work with different statistical packages, we have a very easy data export setup for that. If you click on the data download page, you can format the data as you need and follow the notes here and customize it. And then you can get it to talk directly to your STATA or SAS or SPSS program. So that helps. That's a nice shortcut for researchers and others. And and also just a note, you can always go back and say, oh, I really wish I'd done that other table. You can very easily go back and add another table, and then just click the report again, and there you go. And you don't have to redo it from scratch. Well, let me just scroll up and get you back to the report. Also, I'm just going to say, if JP and Andy, if you need to communicate with me, feel free to email or text anytime. Okay. Because for some reason I can't hear any audio. So I'm also just going to mention, I mentioned our help page, where a lot of the stuff I've talked about today, you can browse it by topic, and it'll have instructions and some visual guides to help you. And then I also want to plug here on the homepage, if you scroll down a little bit, the blog, which is a fun place where we put up some how-tos and sort of demonstrations of Social Explorer, particularly using, I'll pop open one of our election data ones, particularly using our presentation tools. And this lets you put together multi-map presentations, complete with, you can even throw in a video, embed a video or an audio link. You can throw in your own images. You can put maps side to side. You can add text. So here's a little example of one of those. I'm going to go ahead and click start on this just to give you a glance. So here's our election data, which has been fun. And here's a side-by-side map comparing population data and election data, and just some context for the primary elections. And I believe this one has a chart hidden in it somewhere. Oh, here's a multivariable map. Oh, yeah, there's a chart. And we're working even more on the charting functionality. That's something that's going to be improved upon, but just for now, you can already put together a report sort of within our system, or a table or chart within our system that offers this other display option. So we have a lot of examples of this on the blog, and they're fun to work with. The blog also has updates about any of our new features, some how-tos, and mentions in the news, that kind of thing. And yeah, I guess the main stuff left we were just going to mention a little bit of what else is coming with the site. So I guess we're planning to add more international data. We're planning to add county business pattern data from the economic census. Canada and Mexico, actually speaking of international data, we're also going to get much more data on those two, working with those. We're also looking into land use data. We're looking into the ability to have cross-decade comparisons, so you can very quickly trace, how has median income changed from 1980 to today, and be able to pull up a report that would compare that, trace that for you over that period. We're also looking into getting some data that you can't traditionally map, but you can work with in tables and charts and other things. For example, the General Social Survey, which is a really robust survey that's been going on for years and years, and has all kinds of opinion data, habit data, all different kinds of things. And then also the American National Election Survey. And others are in the pipeline. And then we have, some new technology plans in the works. But I also want to say, if anyone has a question, feel free to type it in the chat box. And I'll just see if there's anything else. Oh, okay. All right. So I understand there might be a couple of questions. So I'm just going to. Yeah. Oh, I see someone just commented that crime data is now available. Yes, this is very exciting. We're actually going to be putting up a blog post ASAP with more detail on that, but we're really glad to have that up. So I'm just going to mute the thing. All right, so yeah, I guess this is the question period. Also, if it's easier for people to type and chat, you're welcome to do that. And I'll say you can find us on Twitter at Social Explorer. We don't tweet a whole lot, so it won't clog up your feed.